Alright, I really hope this is working now. I have like two instances of FL Studio open just so I can record my audio. Alright, let's give this a shot. So, this is going to be a series where I'm basically just breaking down how I made certain tracks, like this one. That's about all I'm going to play. You can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you use. This is the actual project file. I went ahead and cleaned it up for y'all, but it did take me about 4 hours to make it. It's a pretty quick project. This is one of my least complex projects that I've put out within the last 6 months, I think. I'm going to just start off with let me play you the actual project. This is before I did any processing or any mastering of sorts. I'll play. Right off the bat, it's a lot louder because I did lower the volume of it toward the end of it. And then this is also brought from another hard drive onto this laptop since I did switch computers. But we'll start off with the drums. Drums are pretty simple. For those, I'll play this intro loop. Programmed them in myself. I used Groove Agent from, why isn't it loading? It's really weird. Usually it always loads. Is it a scaling issue? This one opened. Why is it so big? Well, I guess that opened. But this one isn't, but it's a plugin from Steinberg. Whenever I purchased Cubase, it came with it. The drum sounds aren't too bad. A lot of the plugins that you'll see me use is Groove Agent, Alien Sonic, Massive, which I got for free. Not for free. I actually got it whenever it was on sale. So there's 3 instances of Massive on this, more Groove Agent, and then Silent One, which I purchased about 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, the drums are really, really simple. It's just I just looped that throughout the entire track. All I really did is just put some pretty minimal EQ. I didn't even turn on the reverb anymore. Then for the next part of the drum track, it's with a ride. Oops, sorry. Then what I did later on is I added a ride that's a little bit louder, and with the actual drums. I think it goes pretty well together. Just add some more ear candy to the high end of the mix. I also used Groove Agent for it, but it's not loading. I think it's not loading because I have 2 monitors right now. I have my OBS and my mic output being recorded on another screen right now. Then I also have this little kick with some also Groove Agent. Just a little fill. I just made it its own separate pattern because I didn't feel like making, I don't know, I just didn't want to ruin the other one. Then basically the chorus drums are just all going to be the same thing, but I raised the velocities. As you can see, they're a lot louder. Snare is also a lot louder too. Snare's kind of quiet on this layer. I just put a couple EQs. I don't know what I was going for here, but I just really wanted to boost the lows without getting too many mids. And then on this layer, just solely focus on the snare and its velocities. You can see. Also Groove Agent. These 2 EQ instances aren't on, but this one is boosting the highs. Has some overdrive. There's more EQ to clean it up. This is it without it. But it really does bring out a lot of texture in it. So here it is together. There's one ride going on in there, and then there's also another one. Also groove agent. These drums are really robotic because I didn't take the time to like try and humanize them. I didn't really care. I was just making this really quick. Then toward the second part of the chorus, or I guess when the vocals come in, here's a drum layered with a crash and a ride. It's the same ride from earlier. I just added crashes. Once again, just really robotic ears with the drums now. In context, it's nice, but alone it sounds really shitty. But honestly, that's kind of the vibe that I was going for. That sums up the drums. Now we can go to the synths. This is my favorite part. Let me see. I'll just start off with the sub bass. I use Silent One for the sub bass. Very simple. Just to complement the guitars. Like, no processing. I don't know why I put that there. I think I just raised the volume and then I accidentally moved this. But just a sine wave preset. Not preset, but just go in it and then just change the wavetable to sine, and then that's all you need. Just to bring out a lot of the lows within the mix. Why is this right here that needs to go there? And this part, just doing the bass right now. This is for the chorus. I just have it repeat the note. I have it a little distorted too. Some foldback distortion. I also added some fruity overdrive, destructor, and then just a little bit of EQ to clean up the mids and highs. Because I didn't want it obstructing the mix too much, but it works. And then before I get to the really cool synth, let me show you all this one. This is like kind of a just noise that I put in the background. Here's a first layer. Here's a second layer. So just a little sine wave pad. With very, very minimal processing. I don't even have EQ on it. I just raised the volume on it. And here's the other patch from Halley and Sonic. There's this little pad. Also no processing. I did have a hollow shimmer on it, but I turned it off because I didn't like it. I also made it more mono than wide sounding. Together, sounds like very sad, I guess. I don't know. But that's it for most of the synthesizer. Now what I really wanted to show y'all was this. I'm very, very proud of this. This sound was achieved using Native Instruments Massive. I made it very, very wide, and then I just removed some of these harsher frequencies and boosted more of the highs. But this is the presets called Cry For Me. It's stock. It comes with Native Instruments Massive. Did not mean to do that. Yeah, I just turned some of these knobs and that gave me that sound. You'll see me use this sound again in this part right here. But that's that part. Now let me actually get to this part now. This is going to be the same sound, but I pitched it up an octave higher and I brought out more of the resonant frequencies. Very harsh. You'll see I just took the same chords that I had in the up pad in the intro and I just added some more notes. But that's that sound. Very, very minimal processing. They're both on the same channel. Then I really, really like this patch. I got this patch from Massive as well. Old string. Just brings some really, really nice texture. But what I tend to do in most of my songs is I'll have just one note that goes across the entire 4 measures of the pattern that I make. And I have this here to just create more tension. And usually it works like right here. And then it goes back with a higher note toward the end. I really, really like doing that a lot. You'll see that in a lot of my songs. That doesn't have too much processing on it. It's just 2 EQs to bring down some lows and boost some highs, or bring down some highs, mid highs and then boost the highs again, because you do lose a lot whenever you just push the frequencies down with an EQ. Then I have this pad. This one's a lot brighter sounding. There is some Valhalla shimmer, very slightly mixed in. If I turn it off, it's just, you don't really notice much. But there's a little bit of some, just a little bit of shaping with the EQ. Without it, I really wanted to bring out the higher frequencies within that sound, because then it lets me piece these three together and it sounds beautiful. That's about the extent of the synthesizers that I have. You don't really need much to have a good sound whenever you're doing any kind of mixing, or I guess just music production. As long as you know how to really layer things and just make sure your soundstage sounds good, that's really all you need to know. Now let me go ahead and close those. This is going to be my favorite part. Usually I don't really ever record guitar myself. If I do, it sounds either really shitty or I just draw the notes in myself, because I tend to do that a lot. This was kind of a new thing for me to do. I'll just play the guitars from the beginning. These are going to be just, I guess, the main two that drive the whole track. No processing on them at all. I had them routed from my amplifier straight into my interface, and it did the trick. I just had some reverb applied. That's really the extent of the guitars. I had them on some bleeding, so that way they would like pop whenever I would repeat the chunk. And then there's also this part, which goes in parallel with these synthesizers right here. Just for like kind of a bridge. I'll play it with the synthesizers if I can get them to turn on. And the sub bass. Bring more attention. I feel like I made it way too loud, but low-key, that's alright. I don't care all that much. So that's really just the extent of the guitars within the whole intro of the song and the bridge. Now let me show you the actual kind of processed guitars. This can be like the mid-range of everything. I just put Destructor. I really love Destructor. And then I just put a shit ton of EQ on everything, just so it can only be in the mid-range of the song. I just had that guitar loop throughout I had it loop 3 times throughout the entire chorus. And I also had it pan toward mono, otherwise it sounded like this, which I did not want because it's in the mids. You really want your mids to be in the center of your mix, otherwise your mix is going to sound just muddy and unorganized. That's what I've learned, though. I'm not going to tell you what to do, though. Here's a more harsh sounding guitar, as it says in the title. This is without effects. I just cleaned up the sound a little bit because all it is just my amplifier turned up. Boosted the lows and boosted the highs as well. This is usually what I tend to do when I record guitars. I don't have any experience doing this, so I'll play the harsh and the mids together. They blend well together, and then with these parts. It's not that bad. And then I have these just me strumming 2 notes. I didn't even put Destructor. I only have like just 1 instance of EQ. I only brought out the lows. I think it did the trick. And then I have this part, which I really love. I didn't even bother giving it like a recording name. I just left it at the default title. So in this preset of destruct, actually, I don't think this was a preset. I did this myself. I added some filter, destruction, or distortion, sorry, and then some chorus to widen it out. Then a speaker emulation. And this frequency was like really, really fucking bad. You can hear it now. But without it, it helped it a lot. Otherwise, it'd sound really harsh. I brought out some lows, pushed down the low mids. I just cleaned up the highs a little bit. Did the same thing toward the end of EQing. And I think it really helped. Otherwise, it sounded like this. Just really, really harsh and unfriendly. I had reverb on it, but then I turned it off. So all together, all the guitars sound like this. So it's a pretty nice sound whenever you actually put everything together. And then there is this layer that I recorded as well. It's going to be the same thing right here. Just with some processing, some reverb, some more distortion, bringing out some of those resonant frequencies. Then I also have a stereo spreader as well, just to widen it out. I wanted this one to be really, really wide, just so you can hear it pop through the mix. Then this weird EQ shape that you'll see me use a lot throughout this. Then here's the end guitar as well, which is just completely unprocessed. Just EQ to level it out, and then some spreader. If you'll see in the EQ, it's really, really level sound. But this has become one of my favorite plugins from ImageLine. Most of my processing is just done with a lot of ImageLine plugins, like you'll see just EQ. And that's really about it. I just gotta show you all the vocals. Oh, and then I do have this little tail. Just with the guitars, but that was recorded. What I did was I took this little end part and I just chopped it. Oh, I forgot to show you all this. I have a little sweep that I made. Wasn't too hard to do. It's just same general processing as all the other guitars that I have on here. Now this is going to be the part that has like almost no processing at all. 2, 3, 4. I need you there to hold me. All I have is just EQ, boosting some highs and cleaning them up. Both of them. Then I have some gate to block out some of the noise in the background. More EQ, some Maximus to kind of even out the sound. A peak controller to control the reverb. This is a very, very good trick to use because it basically just ducks down the mix of the reverb whenever the audio starts to peak. And I just have some delay. That's really about the extent of the vocal processing on the intro. I'll play it together. The reverb and delay aren't on until this portion of the song. That's what these automations are for. So they're just clean vocals with zero processing. All that's on in this portion is just the compressor and gate, just to clean it up. Then I'll go to these vocals. I'll just play them all together, and I'll turn on the automations. Miss you when I'm lonely. I miss you when... I always like including like breathing sounds. I feel like it's natural as well. It lets you... I don't know what the term to describe it is, but it makes it sound a lot more natural in recording instead of just chopped up and robotic. I'll play these two. This was recorded in the original vocal recording. Kind of loud, but all I have is just a spreader, some distortion, EQ. It's routed to the same bus with the previous vocals. And what I did record later on, whenever I went back, revisited the project before publishing it, is this. Where is it? I think it's this one. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I pitched it up. I stretched it. It was really loud, so I had to lower it a lot. I just added some gate and some reverb. Then I have this vocal just to kind of clean everything off.
I miss you when I'm lonely.
No processing besides some boosting or lowering the gain, and then
I miss you
just reverb.
when I'm
Altogether, it sounds pretty harsh and then wide, which I did want to get,
I miss you when
which is nice. So that pretty much sums up the entire project. I'll go ahead and just play the chorus for y'all with the vocals.
I miss you when I'm I miss you
Yeah, so that's really about all there is to the track. If you did watch all the way through, I do really appreciate it. And I will update y'all on Instagram when I get my next, I guess. Low-key, I could just do it after this one. It just took me a while to get this one out because I did have to kind of clean up the project just so I could show y'all a lot easier. But yeah, thank you for watching.